Story 1. I, a male in my mid-50s, am certain that I can make a better sandwich from sub-average ingredients than 50% of humans on Earth. Story 2. I am a man myself, and it seems like a good majority of men claim to be above the median income earners and financial experts. Story 3. According to The Onion, fighting. Story 4. According to one poll, approximately 1,700 people surveyed, 1 in 8 think they could score a point against Serena Williams. Story 5. Amazing. Of all of the responses, I have yet to see a single person say that most men think they have an above-average size penis. Sex? Sure. But above average size? It doesn't seem like we are under that delusion, as much as we might want it to be, so it's okay, gentlemen. We are all in this together, it seems. Story 6. Every person thinks they could have played a professional sport if they just would have focused a little more. Story 7. I am a man. Cannot fight. I feel like I would not be a pushover, but I cannot fight. Everyday driving is average at best. Although I have experienced racing that a lot do not have. Sex? Now here you need only look at my name to know that in this respect I am also average. My knowledge of useless subjects, however, is unparalleled. I can tell you things you will never need to know for days. Story 8. Fighting has been a significant part of my life. I have practiced jiu-jitsu and mixed martial arts for almost 10 years. Almost every single man who joins thinks they are going to be a natural at fighting without any experience. I would say that I am not very skilled at fighting, even after all this time. On the other hand, I have never had a woman enter thinking she would naturally be good at fighting with no training at all. Story 9. I train at a mixed martial arts gym as a hobbyist. I have no aspirations, and I know my body is not made for that kind of punishment. I just like understanding technique and spending time with fighter types. But the number of tough individuals I have seen come into this place once and never return is astonishing. Every person thinks he is tough until he gets punched in the head once or twice and realizes he is not cut out for it. Story 10. Soccer, also known as football. I coach youth soccer, and the number of players who say they are good and then get absolutely defeated by my under 8 to under 10 players is incredible. Story 11. The amusing thing is that, statistically, half the male population is above average at one thing or another. Story 12. Driving. Everyone thinks they are good drivers. And thinking. Most people love believing they are smart. Story 13. Pleasing a woman, if they are not impotent or do not have a genuine condition, is important because some women may orgasm only occasionally. The biggest mistake is not finishing with a partner when you finish. Story 14. Nerdy guys with a good sense of humor were always the exception, but growing up, it seemed to me that most other young men believed they were the final arbiters of good musical taste and were completely incapable of considering the possibility that their taste in music was anything short of absolute elite. I hope the next generation is better about this because, as a woman who is a musician and loves music from a wide variety of genres, it has been a major disappointment that I rarely connected with men about music tastes because it somehow became a competition that is impossible to win, as they considered themselves to be the authority. Even kindly, progressive, feminist men have a major blind spot in this area and turn into sneering, condescending individuals over it. Thankfully, it seems to be a youthful problem, as I have seen men grow out of it eventually. But even then, the damage is done and it is always a sensitive topic. Story 15. Fighting off animals. So many men wrongly believe that they could fight a wolf, a determined dog, or a bear. They are mistaken. Also, regarding driving, statistics show that men rate their own ability to drive higher than it actually is and rate everyone else lower, while women usually have a much more realistic view of their driving ability. Story 16. Playing a sport. Most men believe they play better than they do. Some even go as far as to say they would beat a professional. Brian Scalabrine, most known for being the last guy on the bench in the National Basketball Association, once defeated a guy who claimed he could beat him. Afterwards, he told him, "I am closer to Jordan than you are to me." Most men would struggle if they played even a low-level professional athlete. Story 17. As a pistol instructor in the United States Marine Corps and the civilian world, I have to say shooting. Take a novice man and woman and compare them side by side. The woman is often the more accurate beginner. Men have poor organic form and technique due to movies, video games, and years of playing cops and robbers or whatever as children. The ladies are just naturally more accurate, in my experience. This observation only applies to pistols. Rifles like the Armalite rifle and the Kalashnikov are another story, but when you move to bolt action under a scope, the ladies win again. This observation only applies to brand new, never touched a firearm shooters. Story 18. Reading women's signals. The number of guys who have told me they are really good at reading women while completely missing obvious hints is honestly impressive. Like, I literally said I was cold 3 times hoping you would offer your jacket. Story 19. The number of individuals who claim to be good drivers while tailgating, speeding, weaving through traffic, and honking at someone who is going the speed limit is staggering. Many people believe they would fit right into a high-speed action movie, while in reality they just drive aggressively. Story 20. Being funny is truly relative. However, some people can zig and zag on a dime and read people naturally. Delivery is key. It is said that if you can make a girl laugh, you can date her. Story 21. Lots of men have a really hard time determining what 6 inches is despite thinking they are on the mark. Story 22. Yeah, I'm surprised most men think they are great at intimacy. I'm insecure about whether or not I'm good in bed. My girlfriend says I'm amazing, but how could I believe her when I'm only the second guy she's been with? She doesn't realize that there are men out there who can last longer than 20 minutes, who can go multiple rounds in one night, and have larger sizes that will most likely feel better. I would imagine that any reasonable man should know that there are always individuals out there who are better than them at intimacy. Story 23. Chili. Every guy I have ever met makes the best chili. In my experience, it is also the same with pasta sauce. Story 24. Fighting. Most individuals, regardless of gender, believe they are much better fighters than they actually are. They envision themselves performing impressive moves in a conflict situation, but the reality is that most people will tire out after about 20 seconds of ineffective punches or slaps. Story 25. I would say the average height. Statistically, men are taller than women, so the average man should be taller than the average woman, meaning that the average man is taller than the average person. Story 26. Driving cars, having intimate relationships, and getting into fights. Maybe not every man believes he is better at those things than he actually is, but a large majority of men do, perhaps 70%. By definition, it is impossible for 70% to be above average at something. Therefore, some percentage of men are definitely overestimating themselves. Story 27. Fighting wild animals in a battle to the death. Until you have seen a predator your own size, you have no idea just how fat and slow humans are. You wouldn't believe how many of my friends say silly things like, "No way. If a bear came at me, I would kick that creature. I kick really hard. I'm not worried about bears." Story 28. Drinking. Any guy out there who thinks they can drink liquor like it is water will quickly find out they cannot. Story 29. Obviously, it is the ability to carefully describe complex concepts and ideas to the waiting and eager ears of our female colleagues. Please contact me if you need further clarification. Story 30. Every man I know who hasn't seen a bear in real life thinks that they could maybe take down a bear in a straightforward fight or land an airplane with guidance from a control tower. Story 31. With the exception of kitchen staff and men with restaurant or industry food experience, many men struggle with mise en place, keeping their cooking surfaces clean and organized, and cleaning as they go. It looks like a disaster has occurred whenever most of you cook. Story 32. Home improvement and repair. My dad always tries and ends up having to call a professional anyway after he makes something broken even more broken. Story 33. Everybody, not just men, thinks they are good at 3 things: driving, parenting, and intimate relationships. It is a fool's errand to criticize any of those. Story 34. Fighting. Most people believe that if they are angry enough, they can defeat someone in a fight. However, just like anything else, if you do not train or practice fighting consistently, then you are not going to be good at it. Story 35. Most dudes will include themselves if asked to name the 3 funniest people they know. No joke. For example, look at the sentence above. See what I did at the end? No joke. That was a good one, right? Right? Story 36. Bear and elephant fighting. We all have a secret plan to win that we are happy to tell anyone willing to listen. Story 37. Rock climbing. I am small and puny, but maybe 30 years of experience counts for something. The number of ripped, bulky men unable to get off the floor is amazing, but then again, I know who I would ask to help me move a sofa. Story 38. Life experience suggests that making a woman orgasm is not solely based on luck, especially if there have been multiple experiences. Story 39. Knowing the meaning of the following words: howitzer, thermistor, azimuth, femtosecond, milliamp, aileron, coal, de Gauss, Busan, checksum, piezoelectricity, Gauss, katana, sample, neodymium, yakuza, teraflop, Strafe, parsec, bushido. Story 40. Driving. They think they are the best drivers. Be it a humble Ford Fiesta or a Bentley, having a penis apparently means you handle the car better than women or gay men. Story 41. When we are swiping on Tinder, we all think we are over 6 feet tall. When we are gaming with our friends, we all think we should have a higher rank in whatever game we are playing if everyone else was not always holding us back. Story 42. Fighting velociraptors. 95% of men think they could take at least one in a fight, maybe even multiple. I do not think it would be that easy. Story 43. Sex and fighting, especially fighting. Most men think they can fight, particularly bodybuilders. They cannot. Story 44. Sprinting, especially when people start talking about 40-yard dash times. Most individuals think they are running a sub 5-second 40. Thanks a bunch for sticking around till the end of the video. Remember to subscribe, and until next time, stay awesome and goodbye.